What is something you will not buy the cheap version of? Safety gear. You don't want your dollar store safety harness and rope for rock climbing? When I got my first harness, I kept giving my husband heart attacks because I do stuff like put it on the ground while putting my shoes on or something. He'd be like, oh my god, there could be stuff on the ground that melts your harness. And then I developed a new fear. Where the F are you rock climbing that has chemicals on the ground that will eat your harness? Genuinely concerned. Mount Vesuvius. At the parking lot, unloading the car to gear up for a group. I always use a tarp to separate my gear from the ground before I divvy up or recollect gear, as there could be any number of chemicals from cars on the pavement. An office chair is a great investment for the long run. Saves your back. Imagine my surprise when I was able to pick up 2 Herman Millers for $20 from someone liquidating their business assets. Bras. It's hard enough getting one that fits properly. If it fits nicely, I don't care about the price. I hate that my bras are so damn expensive. I recently tried a $15 Bali bra because I didn't want to spend another $60 on one bra. I seriously could not believe how bad it was. Now I remember why I always buy expensive bras. Check out, they do a few really good sales a year. I can buy the brand I love for sometimes half off. And if you buy over a certain price, they do free shipping to almost anywhere. Web link. Oh my god, I legitimately found $10 ones online which fit me extremely well, and I'm considering just getting like 50 of them to last me the rest of my life. Edit, did not expect to get that much traction. Worth noting, it's a Singaporean e-commerce app, unsure if people from other countries can access it, and that I don't have super huge tops, laughing out loud, so I definitely have an easier time finding well-fitting bras, but here's the link. Web link. Don't leave me and my titties hanging. r/aber that fits. Reddit link. A winter coat and winter boots, they are so worth the investment. You could get 4 or 5, or more, good winters out of this investment. I used to buy cheap, especially the coats, as a good one can be costly, but a really warm, waterproof coat for winter makes the commute that little bit easier and life that little bit cozier. Sturdy, waterproof boots are also a great investment. No more cold toes and wet socks, and the expensive ones really do last well. I'm due a new coat for this winter, and I've already started to put a little bit aside each paycheck for it. I had never had a winter coat before and went to Burlington Coat Factory to rummage around for one. I found the perfect ankle-length coat, no defects, for $80. I took it home and was showing my husband when he starts to cackle. He asked if I realized it was a London fog coat. I, being the naive person who grew up poor, had never heard of them. A quick Google search and I realized I got a $400 coat for $80. It's lasted a couple years now with no signs of wear. It's like being wrapped in a soft sleeping bag with pockets and a hood. Tattoos. The hepatitis C outbreak in my neighboring county was traced to a single tattoo artist. He made a tattoo gun out of an electric toothbrush and some fine guitar wire, and would take it to parties to give strangers tattoos, get a tat to commemorate this epic party bra. He had hep himself, and would always go first to prove how good he was. He sterilized the needle with a lighter, but he double-dipped the ink, and managed to give dozens of people hep. They eventually sent him to prison after he won. Killed someone via sepsis from a seriously infected tattoo, too. Traded tattoos for sex from underage girls. The news story about his arrest didn't mention his name, but the Facebook comments were full of crap like, I bet it was his name, he gave my sister hep. Get tattoos from a professional shop, not some random dude. Even if it wasn't for the diseases, you should always spend your money on the best artists just because it's going to be on your body for life. Real typhoid Mary type scenario, or Hep C Charlie if you will. I'll never forget the look on the face of a co-worker years ago. We both got a large thigh tattoo at about the same time. Another colleague asked about it. And she asked how much they cost. Tattooed girl, it was $250. Me, mine was $250. Tattooed girl, yeah, right on, it makes sense, they're the same size. Me, per hour. For 7 hours. Coworker, yeah, you can really see the difference in detail. She ended up getting hers lasered and redone a few years later. It's better, but still not great. Had a former friend get a large thigh tattoo for $300. Goddamn, that was a motherfugly looking tattoo. I think she wouldn't admit it to herself but knew deep down it was fugly. $250 per hour isn't the standard rate of a tattoo shop though, is it? Seems like that's the price of a world-class tattoo artist. I'm sure you can pay less for good quality work without getting crap work done. It depends on the artist and what you're looking to get done. A super talented portrait artist doing a large, detailed piece would likely be $250/hour or more. I got a little line art dragon done on my foot, but it was a custom piece that my friend drew, so it was $50, but I still left like a $30 tip because the guy was awesome. With any art, you get what you pay for, and if it's going to be on your body forever, might as well make sure it's something that actually looks good. 'Cause the really good artists know the value of their work, and you can absolutely find something cheaper for things like line art or less detailed stuff. However, you also run the risk of having the lines be messy or fade unevenly, have sanitation issues with cheaper studios, so you end up with some kind of infection, or just have a generally less professional/enjoyable experience. This isn't always the case, but why take a chance in my opinion? I still left like a $30 tip. I had no clue tipping was a thing for tattoo artists, so when I got my first tattoo I didn't tip. Simple tattoo, just a colored in endless knot with a phrase above and below it. None of my friends had tattoos, so they couldn't inform me tipping was a thing. About 3 or 4 months after I got it on bullcrafting with some random dude about tattoos, and he asked me how much I tipped and I'm just like? Anyways, I went back to the tattoo artist and dropped him a $50 and apologized for my ignorance. PSU for a computer, get one from a reputable brand, not the $15 from some random brand no one has heard of. If you cheap out on a power supply you're asking for it to fail and take other components with it. The PSU is also basically the single most transferable component. PSU standards haven't changed in a while, and although there's some push to switch to the 12V standard, there doesn't seem to be much interest, unsurprisingly, at the consumer level. When I bought my PC a few years back, I overspec my PSU specifically so that I could keep using it if I got a more powerful GPU. A good PSU will last so long. A bed. If you have only bought crappy cheap beds your entire adult life, save your money for a while and buy an awesome bed. That purchase can change your life. For real. When I was young I had a cheap bed and the metal would rust and break. Then it would poke through the cloth and into my skin. I would lay blanket after blanket on top of the mattress until I couldn't feel the sharp points anymore. After I got older and started working I bought an expensive bed. It's one of the best decisions I've ever made. Hope you had your tetanus shot. My king bed is probably my most prized possession. The upgrade from queen was very cash money. Shoes. Mostly running shoes, but all shoes really. I only buy on sale items. Of name brands. So they could be a season or 2 old, but I'll never buy the fresh new pair. But I won't buy the cheapest electronics. Mid-range or higher is what I look for. Best Buy cashier, would you like to purchase an insurance plan for that? Me, it's a $5 pair of earbuds. I think I'll be fine. I love when people complain about electronics and how they don't make them like they used to. They do, people just buy the cheapest version and expect too much from it. And even mid-range electronics are significantly cheaper than the mid-range or even low end of the 60s and 70s. Look at old ads for stereo equipment in the $400 to $500 range. Spend that on a similar item now and you're getting something pretty decent. Or go to the Walmart website, sort by price, low-high, and complain about your Sony or Magnet box. I love when people complain about electronics and how they don't make them like they used to. This is also true for anything and rooted in survivorship bias. The old stuff that's still around was built to last. That doesn't mean they didn't make cheap stuff in the past, but that cheap stuff was broken, replaced and forgotten about since then. Pillow. $150 but feels like a puffy cloud. Have had it for 2 years now, so less than 25 cents a day and going down. Edit. I searched my old emails and found it for you guys. Hope it can help some of you out. It says side sleeper but I sleep on my back and insides, love it. Good sheets help too. I have Egyptian cotton 600 thread count. Down fill, gusseted sides, and a decent fill weight are a recipe for success. If it gets a little low, just punch in the sides and back to floof. Web link. I like the math putting that in perspective. Nice. But do consider the accumulation of dust mites and the dead skin cells they feed on. There are anti-mite pillowcases and slash, or you can put it out in the sun or in the dryer to kill mites every few months. They say to get new pillows every year to be clean, but in my honest opinion, with some strategy one can keep a pillow clean for a decade easily. Unless you drool in your sleep. Don't you guys use pillow covers? LASIK eye surgery. Friend I worked with kept telling me I could get it for $500 in Colombia. Did it here in Georgia for $3,000 with a doctor who had done over 100,000 procedures. I'll stick with having perfect vision. Like, why roll the dice with your vision? Took me 2 weeks to work up the nerve to have someone who only does LASIK and has a perfect record out of 100K plus, 5-star rating to do mine. No way I could have gone to a foreign country to do it, haha. As a Colombian, the only reason I would not recommend eye surgery here to a foreigner is because with plane tickets, accommodations, etc., it might end up costing the same, and you might not know how to research proper renowned doctors here, but here we absolutely have excellent, renowned eye doctors who do LASIK for more or less that price. My coworker and I had LASIK the same week. She went to a center 200 miles away and spent $250. I had mine done in town by a world-recognized surgeon for $5,000. I breezed through. She had complications for months and had to drive back to the center several times. Best money I've ever spent. Kitchen cookware. The difference of quality between knives is night and day. I have Victorinox and it's filling and Heckle 8-inch chef knives, and while Victorinox is good, the other one is just amazing. Work boots. On your feet most the day, out in construction or sketchy areas for your feet? A great pair of work boots makes all the difference in the world. Edit. Thorogood is the brand of boots that changed my perspective on just how important great footwear truly is. Toilet paper. My wife and I got 5-ply once, and now there's no going back. 5. I didn't know there was such a thing. Apparently toilet paper is like super scions. There's always a next level. It's like wiping with a cloud. I tried 2-ply when visiting my mum after, and safe to say I only go at home now. It is disgustingly comfortable to say the least. Electronics. With cheap electronics you realize why they were so cheap so quickly. Cheap headphones, for example. Buy a mid-range or high-end product and you'll have it years. Buy something cheap and you'll be replacing it every few months, or it's so bad you hate using it. Q-tips. Suffered for 2 years because a 500 count was $2 cheaper and I was too stubborn/cheap to throw them out. Hate the cheap ones that the cotton just falls off the tips when you look at them. Then you stab yourself in the ear with straight cardboard. Parmesan cheese. Camping tents. I've been Chinese water tortured on a rainy night in a cheap tent one too many times to ever skimp again. Just outdoors gear in general. Cheap stuff will break when you need it most. There might be a few exceptions, but for the most part avoid the cheap crap you get from places like Walmart or AliExpress. Socks. No more cheap socks for me. From now on I only buy socks made from 100% merino wool. Typically darn tough socks since they have a lifetime warranty. Sushi. Edit. Feeling guilty that some kind soul gave me a helpful award for this one-word reply, so here's some unsolicited advice. Grocery store sushi is usually a hard pass, but there are a few exceptions. Where I live, US East Coast, both Balducci's and Wegmans have very high quality sushi. Balducci's in particular rivals many respectable sushi restaurants I've been to. Both also offer sashimi and low-carb options. Usually they'll make rolls using a very thin sheet of sliced cucumber in place of the rice. Whole Foods, at least the 3 I've tried, is surprisingly disappointing. While the quality is fine, the portions are small, and the fish-to-rice ratio is way too low. Not from the gas station for sure. In Japan, gas station sushi is fire. Japanese 7-Elevens have higher quality food than most restaurants where I live. A mattress. Always spend high on a mattress, your back will thank you later. Condoms. You're probably talking about how they feel, but cheap condoms have matched/outperformed expensive ones in reliability tests. If it's not due to brand name equals pay more, then I guess it's because the fancy ones are designed to be thinner but still fairly reliable. Butter. Once I tried the fancy gold wrapper butter, I can't go back to normal pleb butter. It's just not worth the wax paper that it's wrapped with. The flavor of the gold wrapper butter is so rich and creamy that you don't have to use as much either. Kerrygold. Never going back. I've also started using nicer butter, specifically Kerrygold, but at double the price I have decided it is only worth it when the butter really stands out. So I only use it on bread or in things that it actually makes a noticeable difference for the cost. Granted, I stopped getting it because my roommates used it up so fast and I was paying for it. After college I will start getting it again. My wife insists on buying batteries at the dollar store. They don't effing work. I've rationally explained to her multiple times that they aren't worth buying because they just don't have enough juice to power anything but the remote control, but she absolutely refuses to spend the money on Duracell or Energizer and keeps bringing home 8 AAs for $1 that all end up in the garbage. Tin/aluminum foil. Reynolds Heavy Duty, except no substitutes. Most meats, particularly beef, steak and fish. Steak because the quality and texture change too much if you go for thinly sliced roasts that pretend to be traditional steaks. Seafood because when my local supermarket has a super cheap, half-price sale on salmon fillets, it's likely they are about to spoil. Most of the time they are bad before I even get it home. Dish soap. Nothing suds as well or gets my dishes as clean as Dawn. Car parts like tires and brakes. These are literally the most important part of your car if you are a daily driver. They stop your car and keep you on the road. Yes, they are expensive, but it's worth your life. Edit. Some grammar fixes. Food. Grew up on frozen and canned foods. I'm privileged enough now that all my food is fresh, and it's incredibly expensive. Musical instruments and their accessories. Tools for sure, it's where brands really do make a difference if you know what to buy. Regular tools are a mix of Stanley Fat Max and Facom, power tools are a mix of Makita, DeWalt and Festool. Lego. Sure, knockoff brands may be cheaper as Lego is extremely costly, but it has to be the real thing or I immediately hate it. Pens and pencils. Always buy Ticonderoga No. 2. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.